The price of innocence. The night was cold, the streets glistening under the dim glow of streetlights. Daniel Carter had just left work, his mind preoccupied with thoughts of his sick mother. She had been getting worse, and the medical bills were piling up. Every extra shift he took was for her, for the medication that kept her going. He sighed, adjusting his coat against the biting wind as he turned into a quiet alleyway. The quickest route home. Unbeknownst to him, this shortcut would change his life forever. A sudden screech of tires broke the silence. The glow of blue and red lights flooded the alley, stretching shadows against the brick walls. "Freeze! Hands up!" came the deafening order from a police officer's megaphone. Confused, Daniel turned, raising his hand slowly. "What's going on?" he stammered, his breath visible in the icy air. Before he could say another word, officers rushed him, shoving him hard against the cold hood of a police car. His cheeks scraped against the metal as rough hands patted him down. "You have the right to remain silent," an officer said, his voice firm but devoid of emotion. "Wait! There's a mistake! I haven't done anything!" Daniel protested, his heart pounding like a war drum. The officers weren't listening. One of them twisted his arms behind his back, securing the cold steel of handcuffs around his wrist with a sharp click. His breath came in short gasps as panic set in. He had never been in trouble before. Never even received a parking ticket. The ride to the station was a blur, the flashing lights reflecting in the window, the distant wail of sirens, the pit in his stomach. It all felt surreal. His mind raced. What was happening? Had they mistaken him for someone else? He thought of his mother alone in their small apartment, waiting for him. The thought made his throat tighten. Inside the station, Daniel was shoved into a metal chair under harsh fluorescent lights. A detective, his face lined with years of exhaustion, leaned forward and slammed a file onto the table. "Daniel Carter, you were seen fleeing the scene of a robbery tonight. We have an eyewitness." Daniel's stomach dropped. "That's impossible. I was at work the whole night." His voice cracked with desperation. The detective narrowed his eyes. "We have security footage showing a man matching your description. Same build, same coat. Don't make this harder on yourself." Daniel clenched his fists. "That's not me. Check my workplace security cameras. The timestamps will prove it." His voice was shaking now, but he forced himself to meet the detective's gaze. The detective sighed, rubbing his temples. "We will, but until then, you're being booked." The sound of the jail cell door slamming shut rang in Daniel's ears like a death sentence. The damp, musty air filled his lungs as he sank onto the hard cot. His fingers ran through his hair, tugging in frustration. The walls closed in around him. He wasn't supposed to be here. He had done nothing wrong. The first night was unbearable. Every creak, every distant shout from other inmates made his skin crawl. Sleep refused to come. His mind replayed the arrest over and over, trying to make sense of it. Had someone framed him? Had the police rushed to judgment? How long would he be here? Days passed. Each morning, he was let out in chains to meet his public defender, a young lawyer named Sarah Williams. She looked sympathetic, but also tired. "I believe you, Daniel," she had said, flipping through his file. "But proving it is another matter. We need solid evidence. Your workplace footage could help, but bureaucracy moves slow." Slow. That word gnawed at him. His mother was waiting for him. How long would it take before they saw the truth? Would she be okay without him? Would she even make it? The trial loomed over him like a storm cloud. Then a miracle. A junior officer, newly assigned to the case, decided to double-check the surveillance footage. What he found changed everything. The real suspect had a scar on his left hand. Daniel didn't. The footage, enhanced under better lighting, revealed the true culprit, someone who only resembled him in passing. The police had rushed their investigation, pinning a crime on the wrong man. The news came fast. The charges were dropped. The officers who had once slammed him against a car now walked him to the exit, their voices quieter, their eyes avoiding his. There was no apology, just the cold, simple statement, "You're free to go." Daniel stepped out into the sunlight, but he didn't feel free. The fear, the anger, the betrayal, it stayed with him. The world outside looked the same, but he was different. He had fought the system and won, but at what cost? He pulled out his phone, his fingers shaking, and dialed his mother's number. When she answered, her voice cracked with relief. "Daniel? Where have you been?" He swallowed hard. "I'm coming home, Mom. I'm coming home."